Hello, I'm Zardas, and let's play Planet Zoo. Welcome back to CzarZoo. This will be episode 24, 25. Um, yeah, I should probably check that before we get too much farther. 24, episode 24. And what we're doing today is we are getting started on the Asia portion of the zoo. What I'm doing now is just trying to decide what I want to put in here and trying to find the exact building that I planned, which is this one right here. And that is let me find my blueprints list. That is the Asian Waterside restaurant by Donald Draper. And so that is what I'm putting in here. I want to have some, like, I mean, it's clearly a waterfront restaurant. So we want to make sure that we have waterfront there. And here I'm trying to figure out if I can fit that thing in there too, but I end up not using that. This one, that actually, no, I forgot that I used that. That is the... Oh, shoot. I think I deleted that from my list. Yeah, I'll figure that out and add another note at some point. But it should be in the asset collection. In the description below, there is a link to a Steam collection that has all of the blueprints that I use in the series. And what I'm doing is trying to get the... get a path up here so that we can have, a little bit of maybe, I think later on I put a couple of picnic tables up there actually. And here we get a little bit in there. It kind of isn't prettiest, and it was pretty tricky trying to get this pathway in here, but it ended up working just fine. I mean, it gets the job done, I should say. It isn't great, but, and again, I was happy that I was able to hide the curbs for the most part on the inside there. We probably won't take very many close looks at that, but that is where we're at with that. So now I am trying to raise and lower the stuff in the water to get it to match the waterfront level. And now I don't think I ended up adding that. We used that somewhere else, but now we're getting started a little bit on where the Chinese pangolin habitat is going to go, and I wanted to kind of just get the barrier in place to begin with, and then we'll come back and make adjustments in a little bit. But I wanted to know kind of where I wanted this to be, and the idea that I want is I want to walk through habitat just so that people can kind of see that a little bit. So now we're back in here, and for some reason, when I had to take a break, and I came back, and all of a sudden the animals were all in weird places. So like all the safari animals were suddenly respawning type thing, but it was kind of weird. But I don't know if that was related to, I think there might have been a little patch recently or something like that. But anyway, now we're back in here, and I wanted to get some of the staff buildings in place, and these are just the prefab buildings from the game itself. So then I was coming in here, and the spot where I have the terrain marked as dirt is where I planned to get the staff buildings and stuff like that. But the problem that I have there is that I had forgotten that this is the side that I wanted to bring the path through, where like I didn't really plan for where the path would connect, and so I got to the other end there and it didn't quite line up. So now we're adding a path over this way, which is probably for the best, because then we can have the staff buildings close to those vendor shops and stuff too. So now we've got that in place. Now we're going to create a work zone that will be for the Asia area that we'll use many times, and we're getting one more little path over here to this maintenance building that I've used several times, and I think I've mentioned it before. There is a link to that in the workshop as well. I'm just adding a whole bunch of staff for this work zone, and hopefully it will be all the staff that I need for the entire Asia area. But I mean, I can always add more as needed. So now I'm coming in and just adding them to that work zone, or like assigning them to the area, and hopefully I get like all of the ones that I hired. It's kind of hard to remember how many of each I hired, but that should work. So then I just double check a little bit. Okay, now we're going to come over here, and I wanted to decorate this little area here just to give it a little bit of a a vibe of the theme. And so we get a panda statue there. These are, again, all prefabs from the game itself, which there seems to be a lot of Asia prefabs, which is really nice. Then I get a little gate type thing over there, and then I realized that I only had one entrance for that walkthrough area, and I was like, okay, that'll be fine. So we end up putting this temple over here, again, just to add to the vibe. And so, like, over here we have like a little village type feel with a couple houses and that one shop, and then there's what will be a little garden there. So now I'm going in and adding a few curbs to the area, and now we're just going to change that terrain away from the stone, which the stone terrain had been how I marked where I wanted the like restaurants and center points for each theme area to be. That was kind of my planning method there. And now I'm just looking for trees to put in these areas, and I get a few of the cherry blossoms in there, and then we come in here and turn this into a nice little like a landscaped space, which it isn't super fancy. And then now that I'm going back, I'm thinking maybe I should mark that terrain as soil instead, like have it be a mulched type feel to it. But now I'm just kind of filling a little bit more of these, and then I realized I needed to connect this path here, which becomes a problem because the paths in any planet game are always so tricky. So the one little trick that I use here is I get that in place, and then we put a tree in there. That one doesn't quite fit there, so I add, yeah, that one works. And then we just add a few more trees and just make it seem like it was intentional to have that path be split there. Then I'm adding a few of these trees, which seem like they would block the staff paths a little bit from the view on that waterfront restaurant area. So then we kind of decorate the island a little bit and get a few more things in here. Then I come in with dirt just to make this seem like there is a little pathway to these homes, as if there was somebody living there or something. Now I think we're going to work on the Pangolin Habitat here. I'm going to have some coffee. So we get the pangolins ordered, and they are on their way, so we had to unpause the game. And then we have all these alerts coming regarding the other animals in the zoo. And then, so I wanted to build this little loop in here for the guests to check out the habitat. And then I decided I didn't like the first path type that I chose, so we switched it. Now I want to get, this is a little shelter for them, and I wanted it to face away from the guests so that they could have a little bit of privacy in there. We had antelopes escaping. That ends up being an issue that I realize in a little bit that I need to go back and correct an escape point in their habitat, which was never there before. And so I wonder if the latest update to the game changed a little bit of how they can escape, and I haven't looked to see too much of the notes. But here we have our pangolin here, and we are going to quickly see what kind of stuff they need, and double checked that they needed climb proof there. Now we're just going to get a lot of the terrain the way they need it, which is not quite easy to do. I think, yeah, we're not paused, so we're just filling this all with soil because they need a lot of soil, first of all. Now it's acceptable the way it is, but I want to make that path look like it is a little bit more maintained than the rest of it. And then we go in and start adding some foliage in here just to, you know, get them their plants and their coverage and stuff like that to make them happy, but also to make the habitat a little bit more interesting to the guests. So we get some bamboo in there, we get and I decided to use the bamboo as a shade there to cover out the habitat entrance. And there I'm just looking to see what some of the issues are here. And here I realized that I have this escape point here, so we just move the fence away and raise it up a little bit, and that is fixed. So then I come back over here, double check their escapability, and they can't get out, so that is good too. Then we add a few benches here and there, and then bins, because without bins people will litter everywhere, especially because we have this restaurant area in here. And I decided to add just a couple picnic tables. One of them is crooked there, I saw, but it's okay. Then we add some more benches in there and bins, and we come over here and I wanted to pick out a bin. These are the Sir Didymus bins, but I wanted to pick some that are suitable for the Asia theme area, and we just go ahead and use this one. Come in here and get that in place there, and then come and get more, I think. Oh, and then I love this little rope thing. It just adds so much, little bit of detail there. Now I'm looking for an education board, which I thought I had a pack of a few of them, but I couldn't find it. So I ended up I added that education board, and then I just went ahead and used the very, very simple one here. Then I realized that I need some more power over here, so we get a wind turbine there, which adds a little bit of power. Not quite enough for everywhere that I want to have the power, but it's better than nothing. And then now we get working on the Bengal Tiger habitat. So we raise up the shared wall and we make it climb proof on both sides. And then we just bring this wall around and get rid of those trees, which were marking the border between these habitats. And instead, I want to get this pathway up here, and I had a little bit of trouble getting it right where I wanted it. So I came with this tactic instead, where I raised it up to begin with and then got the stairs where I wanted it. And then here I'm trying to decide where do I want to go with this path. And I end up deciding to just make a little viewing deck there for the next animal that will go in there. Then here we're just making that all climb proof and making that see-through. And then we are getting some Bengal tigers. So we want one female and one male. And then what we're going to do is we are going to add it to the Asia work zone. Now we should have, I think the tigers are on their way. And now I'm trying to decide, I decided I wanted to have like a natural cave for their hard shelter. And so that's what I'm working on here. I'm just going to carve out a little cave here and then make it look a little bit more natural. And I tried to put it in the middle of the habitat because I don't want them to be able to jump out of the habitat. But I do want them to be able to climb up onto the top of that. So you'll see me in a little bit just kind of add some rocks on the side. And here now I'm trying to figure out if there's any other decoration I can fit in here. And I decide I don't think I end up adding any, but I do add this climbing thing so that they can climb up there, and then I put a little bit of enrichment up there, so hopefully they can get up there. I think it would be pretty cool to see, if you were a guest, to go over there and see a tiger like at eye level and just a few, like maybe 10, 15 feet away from where you are. It would be a pretty cool thing to see. But so now I'm coming in and trying to get their terrain right. They want a lot less grass and a little bit more soil. And now I'm coming back to make sure that this is somewhere that they can get up to. And I wanted to add these rocks. They jumped right on that rock, but then they didn't climb up the rest of the way. And so it was a little bit tricky trying to get this to be just right here. And all of a sudden now they can get up there. So I was pretty happy. And then one of them is sick, so the vet comes and I think takes one away for a little bit. But then we come in and get a lot of foliage in here, and I'm really pleased with how the foliage of this habitat turned out. Just because I think it's a good little mix of stuff at different spots and kind of makes it so that when you are on that pathway and looking in, it looks pretty cool to see. And you like have that cave that you can see in. And from there, it's a nice little look. I need to get those curbs on that path a little bit further. But I also realized I need to add a little bit more power in here. So we get one there. And then we can get some more education boards in here. And that will be about it. So, I mean, we get these education boards in, set them all to tigers, get another one here. And then I think we add just a couple more benches. Yeah, but I think I go, oh yeah, the donation bins. Need to get those in place. And then we add a few Indian benches on the pathway here. And that's it. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time. Take care.